sparing to speak of. And over time, that's sorted out. I think it's largely completed during Reagan's political lifetime, where, and they do those little charts about, you know, the most left-wing Republican and the most conservative Democrat, and they can't even wave at each other anymore. You know, it's now sorted out. I run an effort not to raise taxes. No Republican will raise taxes. Every Democrat will. I mean, it's just 100%. It's just not. It's not the overlap that one once had. And there's some issues where that's not true, but on the mega issues, size of government, that's there. So, boom, 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 nothing happens. Which frees up a lot of time to think about other things. If we're not doing the mega issues, what do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? So, partly, you have new members come up and go, well, I guess, unless you have united government on the D side, you're not going to get Obamacare. Unless you have united government on the Republican side, you're not going to get a significant tax cut. Therefore, what do we do while we wait to get this united government that we'd like to have? And that's where you get some discussion about reforming military spending, about criminal justice reform, where you have similar left-right coalitions, immigration, a number of issues that allow that. And I would stress, these are, on defense and others, these are not compromises. Compromise, bipartisan compromise, that's the present mess, where the mushy middle Republicans and the mushy middle Democrats, they did this. They said, we're happy, this is great. And so the present situation on how long you spend in prison for crack cocaine and how much we spend in the military and why every contract has to be divided between all 57 states, and you know, all these sorts of things, that's the present mess we have. That's the bipartisan compromise. Why can't we go to bipartisan compromise? We're living in it. This is the bipartisan compromise. We have an immigration policy that we don't enforce. That's the bipartisan compromise. Why do you keep asking what the compromise is going to be? That's the one we have. And everybody seems to be reasonably happy or unhappy with it. So what you do have, though, is people on the right and the left who, for principled reasons, question some of the expansions of stepping on civil liberties that flowed from the Patriot Act and others. And they're in complete ideological agreement on the power of the state versus the individual. They may fear different people waking them up in the middle of the night and hauling them off, but they both don't want the government to do that. On criminal justice reform, there are conservatives and liberals who, for different reasons, think it's not particularly useful to put somebody in prison for 40 years for nonviolent crimes. And on military spending, gee, if we didn't spend this money, we'd let the taxpayers have it. Gee, on the Pentagon. Gee, if we didn't spend this money on the Pentagon, we could give it to my friends over here. And there are different agreements on what step 2 is. But step 1 is, do we need to spend as much on the Pentagon as we're spending? Are we spending wisely? And we've sort of been through iterations of this, like the base closings bill. I mean, talk about the silly thing. We had lots of bases that were structured from the War of 1812 and all these. No, not a joke. That was one of the toughest ones to get rid of, the defense of D.C. Of Massachusetts. And also you worried about Southern raiders coming up and attacking Maine. And so we have bases and things that were all scattered around. And when you were putting millions of people into the Army very quickly in World War II, you needed some of these areas to get everybody to train. Not so much now. But to get rid of that, Dick Armey and Stark, Liberal Democrat in Indiana, got together, and the first thing they thought was, here's what we'll do. We'll pick 20 stupidest bills, we'll close 20 stupidest bases, we'll close them. Well, the 20 congressmen representing the stupidest bases went to work, and the 40 senators representing, and they went and said, hey, sugar subsidy people, we have a particularly stupid